And welcome to Battle of Champions, coming to you live now from Dubai after 4 days in Pakistan. We are here where the Indian team is hard at work ahead of their New Zealand encounter. In fact, the Indian team has been practicing this evening and we'll be bringing you all the latest reports from the practice session as well. For the moment, I'm joined by Sunny Gavaskar. We'll take a look at few reports of news that is coming out of the Indian camp, what's really happening in the Champions Trophy. But before that, Sunny bhai, a long break for the Indian team while every other team was playing. Of course, India was comfortable, had qualified. Do you think that works to your advantage? You can put your feet up, enjoy a bit of family time as some players did, or do you think it can break the momentum?
I think it's pluses and minuses. If somebody's got a little niggle, you have that 1 week, 5-6 days to recover from the niggle. But the minus is that, you want to be in the flow. And the flow is when you're playing quite regularly with maybe a day's gap or thereabouts. So maybe that is not such a good thing. But the way the Indian team has been playing, look, the 2 matches that India has won, they won comfortably. So it's not as if it's been, a close thing. So everybody is in just the right frame of mind. And I don't think there should be too much to worry about because, quite frankly, the kind of, mental space that the Indian team is in, I don't think there's anything to worry at all.
In terms of preparation as well, we've seen them be a bit easy, a few days off, then they had one practice session, then they had another day off. Today they'll have a practice session, no practice session ahead of the game as well. You think that that's a nice way to manage the workload?
Yes, I think it all depends. Here, I've always believed that as far as optional practice is concerned, that option only the coach and the captain decide. That, okay, you are tired, you might have bowled too many overs, so you don't come for practice. You have scored 100, do you want to come for practice? Fine. If you don't want to come for practice, that's okay. The captain and the coach, the moment you leave it to the individuals, you can take it down in writing, both the guys will say, no, I don't want to come. I would rather stay at home.
Sunny bhai, to quote both Michael Atherton as well as Nasser Hussain, they say that India have an undeniable advantage, that they are in one place, whereas other teams have to travel. Van der Dersen, who's playing the tournament from South Africa, says you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that a team that's stationary, while other teams that are traveling, the one that's stationary has an advantage. What do you reckon?
Well, to that my only answer is what we used to say in Mumbai cricket. In Mumbai cricket, we used to have a saying, when somebody was moaning about his cricket, "Khelna hai to khelo, nahi to bahar." That's exactly what I'm saying to them. Khelne gaye to khelo, nahi to, do what you want. But now, when we are talking about, this travel business, so every time now India is touring England, so anytime India has to go from, say, London to Manchester, London to Leeds, matlab 2.5 hour journey means that is not going to be good for India. Because journeys from Pakistan to Dubai is about 1.5 hours, 2 hours at best, because Pakistan is closer than India is. India, say, I think most of the Indian, flights will take about almost 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. But from Pakistan to Dubai, it takes about 1.5 hours. So, if that is a disadvantage, then for India also now when they go to England, that's a disadvantage, going to Durham to play a test match or wherever, Leeds, wherever the test matches are. From London, if they are going to go, so we have got an excuse. Pehle se ki bhai, if you have not done well, it's only because of this, we are, the thing. But look, how can it be an advantage? Because you're not controlling the pitch. You're only staying in one place. So how does it become an advantage? It's just beyond understanding. And I think these are all wizened old people. Why don't you actually look at why your team has not qualified?
I was going to ask you that.
Rather than, looking at India. I mean, look at your own back garden. Your players are so, in such a mental state of mind. I couldn't care less about the results as long as we do this. I don't care about, you are to care for your results. You have to play for your country. Any team you play for, you have to care for the results. And if you're playing for the country, it's got to be even more. So, I
was just thinking, Sunny bhai, West Indies, India played a T20 World Cup and they were traveling too, in that sense. So if a team has to win a tournament, they can travel and win a tournament, right?
Exactly, and they travel from America to the West Indies. Never the easiest because it's about 4.5 or 5 hour flight. Yeah. So never the easiest. But did India make a complaint? The point is, I think we have to now get to a situation where we just ignore this, because this is a constant moaning. All the time moaning, India has got this, India has got that. Constant, all the time they are moaning. we must just ignore it. Chalna chodna tu, we've got better things to think about. That kind of attitude we certainly must have.
And so now it might be a reality, considering now there is an arrangement that has been reached where India will not be playing their games in Pakistan. Now Pakistan may not be playing their games. We know in the next couple of years they'll play their games in Sri Lanka going forward in the T20 World Cup. So that is a thing that now everyone has to live with. Whether you may not be from India or Pakistan, the rest of the world, but that's the arrangement that the two boards have reached at the moment.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, it's not even worth commenting on. It's really not worth commenting on. They are all the time moaning. They just cannot understand the fact that, where India is at international cricket, in terms of quality, in terms of, talent, etc. And more importantly, in terms of paying their own salaries, because contributing the revenue, television revenue, and the media revenue that India contributes to the rest of the world, I think they have to understand that their salaries also come from what India is making to the world.
So if I was to look at it cricketing wise as well, many would say that probably the least suitable pitches for India would be the pitches in Dubai, right? Anywhere else, if they were playing, maybe the flatter pitches you're getting would have worked in India's advantage in any case.
Exactly, the kind of pitches that have been there in Pakistan, where you're getting regular scores of almost 300, 250, 300 regularly. With the Indian batting depth, India could maybe have gone even to 350, 400 on those pitches. So it is, like I said, it is not, they keep complaining about our pitches, even, sitting in England, they keep complaining about what did we get in Australia? Did India ever complain, or former Indian players ever complain about the pitches? We just accept it because that is what it is. You go overseas, you have to play on different conditions. But a lot of these people, they only want their home conditions everywhere else they go. That's the sad thing, and that is why I think the time has come. Irrespective of who is speaking, they could be former players, former captains, former greats from overseas. Time has come for India to just shut their ears and ignore them.
Saima, do you know who's not complaining? That is the Kiwi team, because Bracewell, who's part of the team, was asked this question in particular. He says, no, for me, all of this doesn't matter. We're looking forward to the contest. Is that the reason why you have the likes of New Zealand doing far better than England?
Yeah, because they're not looking at other teams. They're looking at their own team. Where they're not looking what the other team is doing. They're looking at what they should be doing. Yes, they'll be looking at what the other team is doing if they're going to play them, because they want to pick out, the weaknesses, the strengths, and pick their team accordingly, plan their attack, whatever it is, strategy accordingly. So that is the only thing that you do when you look at the other teams, not look at what so-called advantage or disadvantages.
All right. Alone, the New Zealand team is a very well-rounded team, as we've been seeing in the tournament so far. The two undefeated team in that group, of course, India and New Zealand. Sunny Gavaskar with us. I said before we were looking at that story, I said that maybe two of the strongest contenders in this team, one New Zealand, of course, I was assuming, the other being India. Is that a fair assessment?
It is, because it's a very, all-round team. Both the teams have got, depth in their batting. They've got all-rounders, bowlers who can bat, batters who can be pushed down the order. So in that aspect, and the fielding, New Zealand fielding's been outstanding. So also India's fielding has been outstanding. Yes, the odd catch will be dropped. I'm talking about the boundaries saved, the effort level that we have seen from the Indians over the last maybe year or so. So all told, both these teams are very strong. The only difference is India is a very high-profile team. So the pressure is constantly on them, because cricket is a big game in India. On the other hand, rugby is the big sport in New Zealand. And of course, it's a smaller population there. The country is about maybe 7-8 million people. So the pressure of expectations is a lot less. So when that happens, you tend to play with a lot less, worry about what if I fail? What if I fail? What will the repercussion back home? That is a lot less in New Zealand.